Hi guys, welcome back to another episode and welcome back to the channel. To be honest, I haven't uploaded for a while. The reason for that is because there's not a lot been going on. It's just literally been buttoning up little bits. The biggest change that has happened to the car would be its new windscreen, so I'll quickly show you that. And for the first time in nearly 2 years, it also has a rear view mirror in place. Whippy! So, obviously I couldn't video that because the guy didn't want to be on camera, which is fair enough. You know, some people don't. But the windscreen is now done, so that was one of the biggest things on the list. The exhaust, I took it to a garage because I wanted to have a look firsthand underneath the car as well. And luckily the car is mint underneath. The problem I'm up against is somebody has modified the exhaust prior to me owning the car, which was, we sort of guessed this when I first bought it. Somebody's actually cut the catalytic converters and taken out the insides and welded them back up and done a horrifying job of it. So, which is why it sounds so rough when you start it, and it's blowing, sort of basically blow me backside. So obviously the garage is going to deal with the exhaust, because I say I can't drop the system here and get it out from under the car and put the other one up, because that also needs welding and I don't have access to a welder, and admittedly welding is not really my thing. So the garage is going to deal with that one for me. But 99.9% of all the work has been done. I've still got to put the front bumper back on properly, but I'm sort of toying whether or not I'm going to respray the front end before MOT. I'm probably going to, just purely because of the damage to the paint over the year, well, 2 years rather. And yeah, so we're up to that. I did actually get IMPA, which is the diagnostic system for this car. For some reason, it's only worked the once, but it's done what I needed it to do. Because if you remember in the first episode, I had real trouble getting it from drive to reverse, and it kept going into failsafe. Now, luckily, when I plugged it in, I did film it, but unfortunately, the quality was bad because it was the sun was beating on the screen of the laptop, and I just wanted to see if I could get it to work, because I'd never used the software before, and I thought, right, well, I'll try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Luckily, it worked. I've had no problems with the gearbox ever since. It was down to a voltage issue. Part of that was because Clever Clogs here decided he was going to jump start it off a car about half the size of it, namely a Volkswagen Polo, which, yeah, wasn't a good idea. So I managed to clear the faults, and like I said, no problems since. It's been out on a long test. No problems, and I still haven't got a problem with it today, and I did that probably nearly 2-3 weeks ago now, so I'm happy with that. The only thing I have got an issue with still is the traction control and the airbag light. Now, for some reason, IMPA won't connect to the car now for some unknown reason, which I've still got to fathom out why it's doing that. As soon as I get that sorted out, I can switch those lights out. That's 2 more jobs off the list. Now, I've been saying for a while that I was going to do the wheels. Now, the problem is because we've been having a bit of work done around the house, obviously builders in and out, I couldn't film because there's a lot of noise going on and people walking in and out. So what I'm going to show you now is the wheels. One of them, I'll put the little video in and the pictures before, during and after, which will be now. Focus your twin. So that's the process of the wheels so far. I did unfortunately use body filler just to get rid of the damage on the wheels, but I only had to do it to one so far. Now, because I'm eventually going to get the wheels done professionally, it's literally just sort of, you know, I'm not going for trying to do it professionally at home, because it's just not going to happen. So, as it is scrap savers, I'm doing it on a budget, but I'm making sure that the wheels are good enough to go on the car. So, let's go and have a look at those. So here are the wheels. This is one I haven't touched yet. And I think this one here is a 9J. Yep, so this is the 9J. So this is one of the rear wheels. Now this is the front. Now this is the offending one that was damaged, which I've just shown you the video of. Now there is ever so slight, it's slightly out, if you see what I mean. But it'll do. Like I said, it's not a professional job. It's not meant to be. I'm not trying to do it professionally. As you can see, there's still a bit of like corrosion in there, but you know, it will do temporarily, whether it be for a couple of months or just see how long the paint holds out. Now I've got another one here, which I am currently halfway through preparing. I'm not going to finish it off today, but what I will do is film me spraying them. So I'm going to get them into primer, the same as I've done with the first one. I'll get all 4 in, then we'll paint them. We'll get them down the tyre shop, get some new tyres on them, get them new valves in, balanced, all that stuff, and then we'll get them on the car. And then that's one step closer to its MOT, because I'm not going to put tyres on these wheels, because you've probably seen them from another video, but I shall show you them now, and you'll see why I do not want to put tyres on them, because I will scrap the wheels the second those are on. So these are the wheels, you know, horrible things. They're 16-inch, you know, with 235 60 16-inch tyres. It drives horribly on these wheels. The wheels and tyres on this car obviously are not ideal. Obviously they are E38 wheels, but I do not like the ride. I do not like the way the car drives with them. They're better off on staggered wheels, and I think they ride best on minimum of 18. So that's what the Style 32s are over there, and that's what we're going for. So that's just the reason why I'm not putting tyres on these wheels, like I say, because they're just going to end up in a scrapyard. So, I mean, the tyres could possibly pass an MOT, but I'm not gonna try. So, you know, I'm not gonna try and set this car up to fail, because I know that it will pass if I put the time and effort into it. So I have been putting the time and effort into it. I just haven't been able to video a lot of it. So, as you can see, the builders have left half of their stuff here. So, other changes that I've done. I've corrected all the problems with the bulbs, exception of the indicator. It's got to go out and get 2 more bulbs. But I've also changed the front grills, because the grills were just broken. I mean, this one here just kept falling out. So I've chucked them out, chucked standard ones in. This is what I mean by the paint, where the old grills were banging against it and just smashing the paint off, basically. And the paint is just terrible, no matter what I do to it. I mean, I did spray it with rattle cans, as you can see. I mean, it looks alright. I mean, at a glance it would pass. But it's just one of those things that I know that if I keep driving it after MOT, the paint is just going to end up, eventually, all this here is just going to start going up here. And I don't want that. So, a couple of other little changes I've made. I've cleaned under the engine bay because it was disgusting under there, so I shall show you that. So the other change I've made to this car is under the bonnet. I mean, a lot of you aren't going to see it, but so gone were the days of all the old polish, sanding residue, all that stuff is all gone. So, you know, there's a lot tidier under here. I do need to replace all of this because it looks like an animal or something's been at it. And it's the same story down here. I've got to deal with these pipes. I'm going to get some new ones and some new clips, because it's a common problem on these where the power steering starts leaking. In the last video we did all the belts and everything. Everything down there is still fine. I'm not losing any oil from underneath. I was a bit concerned that this may leak, but it hasn't. And if we try and get underneath the car, I don't know what you'll see. Right, so underneath the car, you can see that it is still bone dry, which is good, which I was a bit worried about. Oh yeah, the heat shield there is, well, not the heat shield, the under tray is on its way down, but that's because I've just been lazy and not put the other one on, which is, yet again, another thing I'll do when I put the front bumper back together. But I'm wondering whether it's worth doing that if I'm just going to take the bumper off to paint it again. So that's where we are with that. Other little changes. yeah, the roof. The sunroof used to leak like a sieve. Obviously I changed it a while ago when I had my other donor car. But what happened is, I'll show you around here. Now the sheet I used, it was a sheet I used to spray some parts on. But if you see here, you've got these horrible little fragments of stuff in it. And it's just a pain to get it off. And the roof is also quite badly scratched. So what I've been doing is going over it with 2000 grit and using a machine polisher out on it afterwards to get all the scratches out and get all that horrible little green specks of paint off, because it's been on there for years. So the only real way to get it off and treat the scratch at the same time is, like I say, bit quick cut and buff and a quick cut the colour sand, which has done it the world of good. The boot, if you remember, I changed it for one that came off a 735, which was yet again my donor car that I used. I did say that I was going to remove the badge in the video, which I didn't. So I'm just going to wipe the mud off, all the sand and muck off here and whatnot. So there was that debadged. What I did here was the same process as I did on the roof, because I had a lot of key marks here. I mean, you can see them ever so slightly. If my camera will focus. Maybe not. But you can just about see them in the shot. Obviously the 735 badge was about here. So what I did was I removed it, and it still left sort of like the paint had risen slightly where the badge was. So yeah, again, what I did was 2000 grit all the way along, sort of just up to the BMW badge here, and went all the way back to here. So it was just sort of like a tester to see if it would work, and it worked beautifully. So I may even go over the boot and all the panels that I put on from the donor car. I will do the same process as I've done on the roof, just to make them look a lot better. Now with the front end respray, depending on how much paint I've got, I may respray these rear quarters, because this one here, does happen to have one hell of a scratch running along here. And also, whoever sprayed the car before done a shocking job, because this under here, that is primer. Now obviously I'm not happy with that, so I may take this, so let's say take both quarters back. I'll leave the roof alone because there's nothing wrong with the roof. Like I say, apart from the fact that it's got a few scratches, I don't need to paint it, so I'm not going to. But the problem is that the rear quarters don't match the doors or anything else, because the doors are original paint. The boot that I've still got sort of hidden over there, that was the boot that was on this car, and there was obviously paint craze, like I explained in the second video, which is the reason why I changed it, because I couldn't be bothered to paint it, which makes sense. So, but also I noticed that that was obviously painted, but purely because this plastic piece here was the original colour, whereas the top piece wasn't. And it wasn't until I took it off the car and looked at it in a different light, realised just how much the paint was off. So that's why I'm sort of toying with the idea of painting the rear quarters if I've got enough paint after I've done the front. But I may just buy the paint anyway, or I may just leave it until after MOT. Because, as I say, the doors don't need painting. I mean, the doors are nice and straight. I mean, they've got a couple of little pinprick dents in them. But what do you expect for a car of this age? So I'm probably going to leave it at that. The doors are still an issue. Obviously, if you remember that the door was stripped in the first and second video, I did actually film the third. I did actually film doing that door, and it was going to be for the third episode. But there was so much mucking around with it that in the end I scrapped trying to put it out, because it was just an epic fail. Mainly because I think I explained in the last video as well that the reason why the door was such a fail. If I missed anything, I'll point it out. If I lock this door, I won't do it because otherwise I won't get back into it again. So yeah, I lock the door on central locking. I unlock it. The pin comes up, but at the moment I can open and close the door easily. See, the door handle's nice. But I get inside the car, and this is the issue I have. Normally, you come to about here and the door would open. But no, I've got to come all the way back here, and sometimes it still won't open. As it stands, there is no airbag there because I've had to reroute the cable for the door, sort of go up and over and into the lock, but that's purely because it's the only way I could get it to work. I'm going to tamper with it again. The speaker just sounds terrible, so it needs a new speaker. And the check strap, as you can see, I open the door, whoop, let it go, self-closing door, don't like it. Also the driver's window doesn't work, so that needs fixing. But as long as that door opens and closes on MOT day, I'm not that worried. As with the passenger door, I can open it on the inside, on the outside, but yet again, the inside, nothing. You can hear the lock working, but I think the cable may be stretched. I've still got a power issue, a serious one at that, because I've put it down to the stereo because it sounds like Rice Krispies. If you put the battery on, I won't do it now because the battery's currently on charge. So obviously, if you don't put the key in, you leave it for about 10-15 minutes, it's drained all the power. So I'm putting it down to the fact it's something to do with the DSP amp in this car, because a lot of them have drain power. I know the Range Rover L322s because I've got one of those, and that can sometimes suffer the same issue. Sometimes I've come out to that and it's barely cranked over, but I mean that usually takes about a week or so. I mean, admittedly, the battery on this car isn't the right one for it. It's just one that I can use just to get it moving, you know, start it up. But I just disconnect it every time I'm finished with the car. Anything else? Anything else? Yes. What the other thing I've got an issue with this car is every now and again, and it is a rarity that this happens, is I put the battery on and I flick the key and everything goes out, which is down to the positive terminal. So I've got to fix the positive terminal before anything else really. So when I'm in the boot playing with the DSP, because I'm going to rip it all out, which means I'm going to have no stereo for a short period of time, which is fine by me, because I am going to take the stereo out, because at the moment we have got one of those. It works, there's no dead pixels on it, the satellite navigation works, the phone works, you know, this little thing here, brilliant, still works. You put a SIM card in it, away it goes. Excuse the laptop and the mess. So that's sort of where I'm at with the car at the moment. I know it's a bit of a short video, it's just basically just a talk through of what has happened. So it's not like I've given up on the car or anything like that. I haven't given up on videoing, it's just been a bit hectic trying to get the things done, and it's sort of planning of what I'm going to be doing for the future. So shut that door a minute. So some of you may ask, what's going to happen to the channel after this car's done? Well, I have, in the background, been dealing with getting another vehicle in. Now, I've had it for a while. I'm not going to explain now what it is. It's going to be a complete surprise. But it is going to show Scrap Saver's true to form. Like, this car that I'm bringing in is a dog. Like, it's going to take a lot of work. Hopefully not too much money, but it is going to require a donor car, but at least one donor car to put it right. I mean, if I can get sort of like the similar model, similar spec, then maybe I can do it on one. But the car is an absolute mess, and it was one that I owned before. I'd sold it, and the owner, or the temporary owner rather, just I couldn't believe it when I went to go and retrieve it, that it was just in such a state. But when the time comes, you'll see it, and you'll probably think I'm absolutely mental trying to repair this car that comes in, but it's going to be done, and I will do it. And you guys are just going to think I'm nuts. Yeah, that's sort of it really for this video. I know it's a bit disappointing, I know it's a bit slow, and I know that I'm not doing anything in the video. But I just thought I'd give you the talk around, just to show I'm still active. But it's difficult, like I say, as most YouTubers will tell you, it's difficult to do the work, then whilst you're filming, because obviously I do everything on my own. So obviously I'm doing the filming, I'm doing the editing, I'm putting it out, I'm sort of promoting the channel, I'm doing all of it all by myself, with no help whatsoever, and it is difficult, and it's, you know, with other life, with other life problems, shall I say? It does get difficult at times. So, you know, sometimes it'll be a bit patchy when I upload, but a lot of it, in a way, is me making the novice YouTube error of what I really should have done was not. I should and I shouldn't. I sort of still toy between the two, but I'm glad I did it in a way. What I should have done really was edited 4 or 5 episodes before I started the channel, but because I didn't, this is where I'm at now, where I'm sort of left with no content to edit for you. So I thought, well, today I'll just do a big run through video and sort of explain why I've been absent and what I'm going to be doing future for the channel. Now, hopefully this year, and that's providing this car doesn't kick me in the backside with something unexpected, which I'm hoping it doesn't. I am planning a road trip with not just this 7 Series, but there's at least at the moment 1 other on board, possibly 2. So until the time comes, that's sort of it's not on the back burner, but it's sort of like it's a pending holiday, shall I say? But I'm gonna take you guys on the trip, so that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll stick to that as well. But that's providing this car doesn't bite me in the backside, because I'm not taking any other car, just this one. And where are we going? Glencoe, Scotland. Yes, I will film it from the minute I leave this driveway right up to the point we pull back in it again. So everything will be filmed. So if there's any screw ups, any breakdowns, it's going to be in that video, because like I said, I never wanted to script the channel or anything like that. So, you know, it's difficult in a way where you're doing a channel that's unscripted, and you don't know what you're going to be filming from one day to the next. So I am going to end the video there. Please like and subscribe. I know I've been terrible at uploading, but yet again, I'm going to try and be a lot better at it now. So the next video, I will be showing you the respray on those wheels. I mean, I am doing it by rattle can, like I said, because it's on a budget, but at least they've been done, and at least I can say that I've done the work. Yes, it might not be up to the best standard, but look at the car. It's not the best. It will be eventually, but at the moment, no, it's not. So anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys there, and thank you for watching. I say please like and subscribe. I don't know, if you've got to the end of this video and not bored to tears, then congratulations. So yeah, again, thank you again.